Okay, now for getting into the final steps here. We're gonna just use the table saw and cut out these details here. Nothing spectacular, just half an inch from the face, and this is 1 inch deep. One little side note, I goofed in making the top rail. Previously I had cut across here. These cuts are actually on the wide part, on the 2 inch, so that when it's sitting up top, then the 1.5 inch face is what you see. So took a second, went through, made all the angle cuts that you guys have previously seen, and then yeah, so cleaned up a couple of things, and now we're ready to cut off the face, label face. Alright, so now those are cut out pretty much right where they should be, and this piece, other than a little bit of cleanup and sanding, maybe a little fitting on that end, is all good. Got this piece right here now. So what that is, on the bottom is these two pieces, how they come together. So need to take that off. This was one of those, you try it 15 different ways in the table saw, and said I'll bandsaw it, I'll do whatever, and with a router using the top of the bit. Let me show you. This is just a router setup. Alright, so nothing too fancy here. Blade setup. Just a straight router bit. And I have the outside edge to the fence set up at 3/16. And that'll cut the depth here. To the right spot. The one little trick that I have learned in that little setup is make it in a couple of passes. If you try and get it all in one, it'll splinter out on you. So let's see how this comes up. Alright, so zoom out a little bit. So we've got this piece here in this corner. There's still a little bit of a rounding, so I'll just take a chisel, follow the two directions, and we should be in good shape there. Alright, so the next cut we need to make, I do this cut on a router through here, but there's so much material and I kind of want to do it in a single pass. So the first thing that I'm going to do is use the table saw and just cut out a chunk. So that ultimately will be a 1/2 inch in from this face, and 5/8 inch wide. So I have a 5/8 inch router bit that will go the inch deep. So I'm going to be a little bit more than a 1/2 inch, and then take out a 1/2 inch or so in a whole bunch of passes. Alright, nothing too exciting there, just hogging out a little bit of material. And I'm going to go over to another router setup and we're going to cut that out. Okay, nothing too exciting here. The only little piece that I goof on from time to time is making sure which side is front and back, but fence set up with a 5/8 router bit, and from the back of the bit to the fence is 1/2 inch. So here we go. Alright, so now that's all in, we're going to have that same little cut that we made on that other router on these ends, but nothing spectacular. I'm going to zip that out here real quick. Alright, so one of the last cuts we're going to make is this back shoulder. I'm not going to go ahead and cut out all of this where the seal goes and everything for that project. They're just straight cuts on a table saw, and I'm thinking by now you can probably figure that out. So we're going to just zip this piece off and go from there. Alright, went over, did a minor little bit of cleanup in these joints on the little tabs that go in, just touching them off with a file and everything, but joints come up pretty tight. Here's where I'm talking about that things overlap and extend beyond. So ultimately, after I'll go through and glue this up, this is hanging off the end, this is hanging off, this is hanging off. So I'll use my circular saw, mount a guide, run the circular saw down using this top edge as a, I'm going to square this side off and then square off the bottom. So I'm going to go through, put the detail in this, glue it up, and then we're going to kind of move on to how do we finish it?